My whole family is from Outlaw Ridge. I was the only kid in the entire town to actually finish high school. In kindergarten, a chubby boy stole my lollipop. My dad spent the entire night sitting on the boy's porch, sharpening a massive meat cleaver until dawn. In elementary school, my teacher punished me by making me stand in the hallway. My mom showed up with 30 tattooed bikers and surrounded the office until the principal begged for mercy on his knees. Middle school, the local bully tried to shake me down for protection money. My grandpa walked over with his cane, and the next day that bully was kneeling at the school gate, slapping his own face until it bled. These outlaws had kept their hands clean for 12 years, waiting for the day I'd walk into the national placement exams to bring honor to our name. But with only 30 minutes left before the doors closed, I realized my exam permit was gone. I tore through my backpack, but it was nowhere to be found. Sloan Miller, the class queen who always hated that my grades were better than hers, stood on the steps with a cold smirk. "Stop looking. I hid your permit," she whispered. Oh dear. If a little peasant from the ridge can't even get into the exam hall, I guess she'll be pumping gas in the sticks for the rest of her life. Huh. Students around us burst into laughter, pointing at me like I was a circus clown. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just took out my phone and dialed my dad. "Dad, someone hit my permit. The doors close in 30 minutes. He hung up immediately. I looked at Sloane's smug face and sat down calmly on a stone bench. She probably didn't know the rules of Outlaw Ridge. Well, my dad and the guys were about to teach her. I had just tucked my phone back into my pocket when Sloan Miller let out a mocking giggle. "Oh, look at her, calling for backup. What are those hillbillies from your village going to do? Dig up a new permit with their pitchforks?" The students around her roared with laughter, their eyes full of disgust. "Exactly. Is she going to have the whole village drive their tractors down here?" The head of security for the testing site marched over. He gripped his baton, pointing it right at my nose. "If you don't have a permit, get out of here. Stop causing a scene. I'm being nice by not calling the cops on you for disturbing the peace. Leave now, or I'll make you leave." I looked him dead in the eye. "She stole my permit and destroyed it. You're blaming me instead of arresting her." Sloane's voice hit a high pitch instantly. "Don't you dare lie. You're just making things up." She took a half step back, acting like a frightened victim. "You were the one complaining in class yesterday. You said you couldn't handle the pressure because kids from your town never make it to college. You said you were going to rip up your permit and forget the whole thing. Now that you've lost it, you're trying to frame me." The security captain gave me a suspicious look. He chose to believe Sloane. He swung his baton through the air with a heavy whoosh. "So you're a quitter, huh? If you don't want to take the test, go home and work the fields. I'm warning you one last time. Any more trouble, and it's a direct violation of state exam laws. I'll have you detained and banned from testing for 3 years. That goes on your permanent record. You'll never have a future." The parents waiting nearby started shouting. "She's a quitter trying to ruin it for our kids. Get her out of here. Don't let her stress out the real students. Look at those cheap clothes. She's just a waste of resources." Anyway, their insults hit me like a wave. I suppressed my rage and pointed at the security camera above the gate. "Check the footage if you don't believe me. The cameras caught everything. Let everyone see who the real monster is here." The captain hesitated. He looked up at the camera. He reached for the radio on his belt, about to call the booth control. "Check the gate footage," for Captain Sloane stepped in, her face turning pale as she grabbed his arm. She cut him off, her voice trembling with fake urgency. "The exam is about to start. I can. Cameras will waste everyone's time. Don't let this crazy girl manipulate you. She threw her own permit down the sewer because she's jealous of my grades. She wants to drag me down with her. She's just stalling for time." The captain wavered. A boy pushed through the crowd. It was Zach Jensen, Sloane's #1 lapdog. He pounded his chest and shouted to the crowd, "I can prove it. Look for yourselves. I caught this on my phone yesterday evening." He hit play. The footage was shaky and blurred, but it showed a girl wearing the same hoodie as me. He was acting shady, tearing up an exam permit and tossing it into a trash can. Sloane rushed over, pointing at the screen. "That hoodie, that hair, that's you. Who else could it be? See, this loser destroyed her own future, and now she's playing the victim to extort us." The parents and students exploded. I knew it. Nothing good comes out of that trashy town. She probably cheated to get those high scores on the practice tests. The state exams are too hard for her. So she staged this whole drama because she's scared failing. The vicious theories kept coming. I clenched my fists, staring at Zach's phone. "That's not me." I went straight back to the hotel across from the center to study. "Yesterday, I never went to the back alley," Zach sneered. shoving the phone closer to my face, studying.
Who can prove that?
I choked up to make sure I could focus. My parents had booked me a single room. I had spent the entire afternoon and night alone, grinding through practice problems.
There was no one to vouch for me.
Seeing me silent, Sloane laughed even louder.
Guilty.
I bet you weren't studying. You were scouting the area looking for a way to steal our permits. You're a piece of trash. And you're trying to pull everyone else into the gutter with you. You're rotten to the core. The crowd shouting grew sharper. She's a liar, a delinquent. Call the cops. Don't let her freak out and ruin our kids' exams. Security, get this scammer out of here. The security captain checked his watch, looking annoyed. 10 minutes until we lock the gates. He turned to me with a snarl. I'm asking one last time, were you at the school yesterday or not? I gripped my teeth. I went to the store to buy some pencils and I walked past the alley. But that person in the video is not me. Sloane screamed over my words. She admitted it. She's desperate. She pointed at my face, her eyes gleaming with triumph. She tore up her permit to cause a scene. She wants to destroy everyone's future because she has none. I slapped her hand away and stared at the video on Zach's phone.
The person in that
video is using their left hand to open the trash can. I held up my own hands for everyone to see. Had a severe injury on my left hand years ago. My tendons were shredded. I can't even grip a cup with my left hand. I'm strictly right-handed. That is not me. Zach froze. His face went gray. A few parents looked at Zach with sudden doubt. Sloane reacted instantly, stepping in front of him. Left-handed, right-handed, who cares? The camera probably flipped the image. It's a mirror effect. She shot Zach a look. He nodded frantically.
Yeah.
The camera was in selfie mode. It's flipped. The security captain grabbed the phone and zoomed in as far as he could. The patch on that backpack strap is identical to the one you're wearing right now. Same clothes, same bag. You're still going to lie to my face. The captain stepped forward and shoved my shoulder. One more word, and I'm taking you to the station. Sloane stood behind him, laughing so hard she had to hold her stomach. Go back to your pathetic little village and dig in the dirt. College is over for you. You're done. The intercom system over the exam center crackled to life. The gates will close in 10 minutes. All students must be inside. The security captain gripped his radio. Time's up. If you can't produce a permit,
get lost.
You're obstructing the exam. I stood up straight, my nails digging into my palms, so hard they drew blood. Do you have any idea what it took for me to get here? I screamed, letting out all the rage I've been holding back. There are 38 families in my town. Every single one of them saved every penny they had, just so I could afford the tuition in the city. The hopes of my entire community are on my shoulders. Do you really think I'd joke around with my life like this? I'd have to be insane to burn my own permit. The shouting crowd went quiet for a split second. Some parents looked hesitant. The kid looks like she's struggling. Maybe we don't let her trick you. Sloane's voice cut through their sympathy. She just said it. She's the only hope of her village. She knows she's going to fail and disappoint them. She burned it because she's too chicken to actually take the test. Zach chimed in immediately. Exactly. If she's crazy enough to burn her own permit, who knows if she'll lose it inside the hall? He might start tearing up other people's answer sheets. Just for revenge. That was the kill shot. Every parent there went pale. The protest became 10 times louder. That's terrifying. You can't let her in. Security, get her away. Keep her away from our children. She's a public danger. Lock her up. I was shaking with fury. I pointed at the camera again. Check the footage. Just check it. It'll take 2 minutes to prove I'm innocent. Sloane crossed her arms and sneered. Getting desperate, huh? You just want to stall, so everyone misses the start time. In your dreams, nobody is falling for it. 5 minutes until the gates closed. The intercom droned. A middle-aged man with an official badge pushed through the crowd. What is all this noise? The security captain rushed to brief him. The head proctor frowned at me, then checked his watch. The gates are closing. Look, if you can find your permit before the bell, I'll let you in. As for whether you burned it yourself, we'll investigate that. After the test. Sloane practically jumped into the air. That's not fair. Are the rules just for her? We worked hard for 3 years. We followed every rule. Why does she get special treatment? It's an insult to the rest of us. The parents joined the chorus.
No exceptions.
This is the national exam. Follow the protocol. Get her out of here. Why should our kids' safety be risked for a girl like her? Just then, the regional inspector walked over. The proctor and the captain immediately stood at attention. Inspector Layton, we didn't expect you here in person. Layton looked over the crowd coldly, his eyes landing on me. Without even asking me a single question, he gave a command. She is clearly a mental health risk. For the safety of the other students, she is barred from entry. I was sweating now, trying to push forward. I'm not crazy. My permit was stolen. Just check the cameras, please. He didn't listen. He talked right over me. Security, hand her over to the police. Have them run a psychiatric evaluation until she's cleared. Her testing privileges are revoked. Put it on her permanent record. The proctor looked uneasy. Inspector, there are still a few minutes she actually finds it. Are you going to take responsibility if she snaps? This girl is a ticking time bomb. Sloane leaned into my ear, her voice dripping with venomous joy. Enjoy your zero. You're a nothing. A group of armored security guards rushed forward. They grabbed my arms, twisting them behind my back and slamming me onto the hot pavement. Let go. I'm not crazy. I need to take this test, please. Just 2 minutes on the cameras. 38 families were waiting for me. I couldn't fail them here. This is illegal. Let me go. I screamed, my face covered in tears and dirt. The security captain slapped the back of my head, making my ears ring. Shut up and stay down. Suddenly, a roar shook the air. Get your hands off my daughter. The roar didn't come from a single throat. It was the collective thunder of 30 modified Harley-Davidsons and 3 heavy-duty logging trucks shrieking to a halt at the school's main gate. The asphalt groaned under the weight. The air, previously filled with the scent of expensive perfume and nervous sweat, was suddenly choked by the smell of diesel, burnt rubber, and raw adrenaline. The security guards froze. Inspector Layton looked up, his face draining of color. A matte black Peterbilt truck, reinforced with steel plating, had hopped the curb, stopping inches from the inspector's sedan. The door swung open. My dad stepped out. He wasn't wearing a suit. He was wearing his grease-stained work boots, a faded flannel shirt with the sleeves ripped off, and a look in his eyes that had sent grown men screaming into the woods back home. In his right hand, he wasn't carrying a meat cleaver, not today. He was carrying a heavy iron crowbar. Behind him, my mother dismounted from her chopper, her leather jacket shimmering with the insignias of the Ridge. The 30 bikers behind her didn't say a word. They just formed a semicircle, effectively, locking every parent, student, and official inside the kill zone. Get your hands off her, my dad said. His voice wasn't a scream. It was a low, vibrating frequency that made the windows of the exam hall rattle. The security captain, trying to maintain his pathetic shred of authority, tightened his grip on my arm. Stay back. This is a restricted zone. We are authorized to use. He didn't finish. My dad moved with a speed that defied his bulk. He didn't swing the crowbar. He simply grabbed the captain's wrist. There was a sound like dry branches snapping. The captain let out a strangled yelp and dropped his baton. I was free. I fell forward, but my mom was there, catching me before my knees hit the gravel. Her hands were calloused, but incredibly gentle. She wiped the dirt from my face with a silk bandana. Did they touch you, baby? She whispered. They won't let me in, Mom. I sobbed, the adrenaline finally breaking my dam of composure. Sloane took it. They have a fake video. They're going to ban me for 3 years. My mom looked up at Inspector Layton. Her eyes were like twin daggers. 3 years? That's a long time to live with a mistake, Inspector. Layton stammered, backing toward the gate. Your daughter, she's a public nuisance. She destroyed her own permit. We have video evidence. Look at you. People, you're terrorists. I'm calling the National Guard. Call them, my dad said, stepping onto the sidewalk. But they'll be late for the funeral. 5 minutes. Sloane Miller screamed from the safety of the stairs, her voice cracking with panicked delight. The gate locks in 5 minutes. Even if you kill everyone here, she doesn't have a permit. She's still a failure. My grandpa stepped out from the shadow of the lead truck. He was leaning on his heavy oak cane, the one that had cracked the jaw of the middle school bully. Years ago, he walked slowly, the tap-tap-tap of his cane hitting the pavement, like a countdown. Sloane Miller, Grandpa rasped. Granddaughter of Arthur Miller, the man who owns the local textile mills. The man who owes the Ridge $3 million in unpaid logging timber from the 90s. Sloane's smirk flickered. I don't know what you're talking about, you old freak. Grandpa ignored her. He looked at Inspector Layton. And you? Henry Layton. You've been taking donations from the Miller family for 6 years. We have the ledger, Henry. We keep everything in the Ridge. We don't throw things away. Layton's eyes bulged. That's blackmail. That's inadmissible. We aren't in a courtroom, Henry, Dad said. stepping closer. We're at a crossroads. Now, my daughter said her permit was stolen. I believe her.
That
Means the permit is within 50 feet of this gate. Dad looked at Zach Jensen, who was still clutching his phone. Zach tried to hide behind a trash can, but two of my mom's bikers, huge men named Bear and Silas, stepped behind him. The video, my dad commanded. It's real. I swear. Zach whimpered. My mom walked over and plucked the phone from his hand as if she were taking a toy from a toddler. She handed it to a younger man who had stepped off one of the bikes, my cousin Leo, who had spent 4 years in the academy, which was Ridge speak for a very high-end tech ops unit in the military. Leo glanced at the screen for exactly 4 seconds.
I generated deepfake.
Uncle, they used a base layer of a girl in a similar hoodie, then ran a face swap filter. Low quality. The shadows on the trash can don't match the light source from the street lamp. Leo looked at the security captain. You're a pro, right? You didn't notice the girl in the video has 6 fingers on her left hand? AI still struggles with extremities. The crowd went silent. The parents who had been shouting insults suddenly found the ground very interesting. Where is it? My dad asked Sloane. I don't have it, she shrieked. Search me. I don't have it. I know you don't, I said, standing up and finding my voice. I looked at the way she was standing, 1 foot slightly elevated on the second step. Her weight shifted. There was a decorative hollow stone pillar at the entrance of the gate, topped with a bronze lion. It's in the lion's mouth, isn't it? Sloane's face went from pale to ghostly. My dad didn't wait. He walked to the pillar. The bronze lion was bolted down.
He didn't ask for a key.
He put the hooked end of the crowbar into the lion's jaws and heaved. With a screech of tearing metal, the bronze head snapped off its
mount.
Inside, crumpled into a ball, was my permit. 2 minutes, the intercom droned. My dad smoothed out the crumpled paper with his massive, scarred hands. He handed it to me. Go. Wait. Inspector Layton yelled. That permit is defaced. It's invalid. According to Section 4, Paragraph B. My dad didn't hit him. He simply grabbed the inspector by his silk tie and pulled him close enough to smell the wood smoke on his breath. Henry, if my daughter doesn't walk through those doors, I am going to dismantle this school, brick by brick. And when I'm done, I'm going to go to your house. I'm going to sit on your porch. And I'm going to sharpen my cleaver until the sun comes up. Do you understand? Layton looked into my dad's eyes, the eyes of a man who had survived winters that would kill a city dweller in an hour. He saw no bluff.
No hesitation.
Let her in, Layton wheezed. Let her in, and give her a fresh sheet. The permit is verified. I grabbed my bag. I didn't look back at the bikers or the trucks. I looked at
Sloane. She
was trembling, realizing that the peasants she mocked didn't play by the rules of the city. They played by the rules of the earth. As I ran toward the closing heavy oak doors, I heard my grandpa's voice one last
time.
Don't worry about the time, honey. We'll make sure nobody leaves this yard until you're finished. We've got a lot of auditing to do with these folks. The doors slammed shut behind me. The silence of the exam hall was deafening. I was covered in dust. My hand was throbbing, and I had exactly 29 minutes to finish a 3-hour section. The proctor at the desk looked at me, terrified. He handed me the exam booklet. You may begin. I sat down. I closed my eyes for 3 seconds. I pictured the 38 families in Outlaw Ridge. I pictured the pennies they saved. I pictured my dad sitting on that porch. Then I opened the booklet and began to write. Outside, the world had stopped. The police had arrived 10 minutes after I entered, sirens wailing. But they didn't find a riot. They found 31 motorcycles and 3 trucks parked in a perfect, legal formation, blocking every exit of the parking lot. My dad was sitting on the hood of the inspector's car, peeling an apple with a pocket knife. My mom was leaning against a cruiser, sharing a cigarette with a police sergeant who, as it turned out, grew up 3 miles from the ridge. They're just waiting for the kid to finish, the sergeant told the captain over the radio. Technically, they aren't breaking any laws. They're protecting a student. And honestly, Captain, you don't want to try to move these trucks. They're rigged with air brakes that'll take a crane to shift. Inside the hall, I was a machine. I didn't read the questions. I inhaled them. My brain, sharpened by years of being told I was nothing, carved through the advanced calculus and the complex linguistics like a hot blade through wax. Sloane sat 3 rows behind me. I could hear her sobbing. She couldn't focus. Every time a motorcycle engine revved outside, she jumped. She had spent her whole life using fear as a weapon. Now, for the first time, she was the target. For hours later, the final bell rang. I put my pen down. My fingers were cramped into a permanent claw, but I felt a strange, cold peace. I walked out of the hall first. The doors opened, and the sunlight hit my face. The audience was still there. The parents were huddled together looking like refugees. Sloane's father, Arthur Miller, had arrived in a frantic hurry, only to be stopped at the perimeter by my mom. As I stepped onto the plaza, my dad stood up from the inspector's car. "How is it?" he asked. I didn't miss a single answer, I said. A cheer went up from the bikers, a low, guttural roar that echoed off the surrounding skyscrapers. Inspector Layton tried to scurry away, but Leo, my tech cousin, held up a tablet. "Not so fast, Inspector." While my cousin was testing, I took the liberty of tapping into the school's internal server. I found the deleted footage from the gate. I also found the email chain between you and Mr. Miller regarding guaranteed placement for Sloane. Leo looked at the police sergeant. "It's all on a cloud drive now. Sent to the State Board of Education and the district attorney 10 seconds ago." Arthur Miller's face went purple. "You ruined us. Over a stupid permit?" My grandpa walked forward, leaning on his cane. He stood in front of Miller, a man half his age and twice his wealth. "You didn't get ruined over a permit, Arthur," Grandpa said quietly. "You got ruined because you forgot the first rule of the Ridge. We don't start fights, but we damn sure finish them." 2 months later, a black motorcycle courier drove up the winding dirt road into Outlaw Ridge. He stopped at the small, communal post office where the entire town had gathered. My dad took the envelope. He handed it to me. I tore it open. National Placement Exam. Rank 1. Score, 99.9th percentile. Admissions offer. National University of Law and Governance. Full scholarship. I looked up. The 38 families were watching me. These were people who smelled of pine resin and wood smoke, people with grease under their fingernails, and scars on their knuckles. "I'm going," I said, my voice thick. "We know," my dad said. He looked at the meat cleaver hanging on the wall of the kitchen, then back at me. He smiled, a rare, beautiful sight. "And when you get there, you tell them where you're from." I looked at the road leading out of the ridge. I wasn't the peasant Sloane Miller thought I was. I was the daughter of Outlaw Ridge. And the world of the civilized city had no idea what was coming for it. I wasn't just going to college. I was going to rewrite the laws they thought they could use against us. Because out here, we don't just survive. We win.